Welcome guys, you've caught me in the act. So I'm just in the middle of doing a bit of maintenance, bit of water change. Obviously there's been quite a bit of chemical gone into the pond over the last few weeks, treating for Childrenella, white spot. All that's been dealt with now. The fish are looking fantastic, all mucus has cleared up. Yeah, they're looking really good. So what I'm just want to do now is just do some water changes, flush as much of this chemical out of water that may be still remaining, get it all out, lower the salt level even more. So I want to get the salt level down now to virtually non-existent, obviously leading up to the junior koi show. I want as little salt in water as possible, because obviously salt is an irritant to the fish, so it does cause them to hold a little bit of mucus if you've got salt in your water, which is not what I want going into a show. So yeah, water changes are in order, get as much chemical out that may be remaining, start getting more salt out. So yeah, that's the plan. So I've got my hoses out into the sump ready, getting ready to flush this out. Got my hose in and been cleaning the waste chute out. And look at this, what I had made up as well. My son made me this. It's a little holder for my blue lab probes. He made this for me. It was his birthday other day. He was 17. He had a new 3D printer for his birthday, so I set him on with a task to make me a little holder up for my blue lab probes. And they just sit in there like that, the pH probe and the TDS probe. Got this little look on back on it, and it just sits over there like that and holds them, which I think is pretty fantastic. He's made a cracking job of that. No doubt I'll have to give him a bit of cash for it. So yeah, awesome. So I'm going to get on with that in a minute, give my drain a flush, get any crap out at drain. Let's get this off for here. The Awaza pads, still not fully settled yet, but they are starting to slowly, you'll see they are starting to slowly roll, so they are getting somewhat neutral buoyancy to them. But yeah, they've still got a fair way to go yet by the looks of it, but they are starting to get to neutral buoyancy, which is fantastic. You'll see here I've got my boxes. So I had a trip to Stu's Okie Koi down in South Wales, down in Bridgend, and I've had some boxes off him. So we've got four smaller boxes for the fish, ready for the show, and we've got three of the larger boxes. Got those just in case, because I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be taking any of the bigger fish yet. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to have to see what they like. I'm going to have to see what they like come closer to the time, so we'll see on that, but I've got them just in case. I also bought a load of bags off him, so thank you very much for them. And also I've had off him a tub to eventually upgrade my bio unit. If you remember, I said that I'm pretty soon going to be upgrading the bio unit, so I've had a tub off him, which is this beastie thing here. So this is 1.3 meter long by, I think it's 730 wide, and I think it's about 650 deep or something like that, so it'll hold quite a bit of water, quite a bit of media. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be using to upgrade my bio unit when the time comes. Get a lot of media in there, or certainly enough for me anyway. Now I'm not going to be doing that just yet. Obviously with this show coming up, last thing I want to be doing while I'm trying to prepare these is messing about with my filtration in there. So more than likely I'll be sorting that out after the show, when I've not got to worry about anything. Like I say, I don't want to be messing about with my bio unit or anything else inside there, pipework or anything like that. I don't want to be messing about causing any disturbance to these leading up to the show in October. So that's going to stay there for the time being, and then yeah, come after the show I'll be able to crack on and upgrade that and alter pipework as I need to. Other than that, like I say, these are all doing well. She was the one that was absolutely covered in mucus, but she's looking much better now. Pond's a bit murky at the minute because my UV's off. It's been off for quite some time. Obviously we're using treatments, one thing or another, but also I left it off because I wanted to get a bit of colour in my water, just to try and improve the skin if at all possible. Just have a bit of colour in water, supposed to help them with the skin a little bit, so I did leave it off for a period of time. Might leave it off altogether for now, we'll see. So yeah, right then guys, so I'm going to crack on with this now. I'm going to get this system switched off, get this drain flushing out, and get a bit of water change, I think. So I shall come back to you. So what I do with my system before I ever switch the system off and before I start cleaning anything out, the first thing I always do is put a little bit of water in this jug, because obviously with the drum getting emptied, the last thing I want is my probes drying out. So I always fill a jug full of water just so I can place the probes into that, and then that'll stop them from drying out. So I'll just put a bit of water in there, and then they'll be able to sit in there, and they're not gonna dry out. So a bit of water in there, and then they can just sit in there. So as you'll have seen, that'll be source water, and then now my blue lab will start obviously changing and lowering. So you'll see my source water for my TDS, it's not too bad really. My source water, to say it's source water, pretty happy with that. pH is, like I say, usually around 7.6, 7.5, so yeah. So that's staying there now, and then what'll happen, I always lift me, I'll put you guys a bit of light on, I'll lift me overflow pipe up, and then what happens is the system will get shut off under here. So I'll shut that off, I'll close that to save my bio unit draining, and then I shut my bottom drain off. Then once they're isolated, this gets opened up like so, and then it'll come out into that there. And then that'll start pumping it away to the drain at bottom at garden. There we go, so that's just it, the float switch, and that's starting to empty. So that's that. And then what will happen is once that gets right down to the bottom of that outlet, I grab this brush. I just do inside here a quick fettle. So excuse me 1 minute. Just give that a quick brush it around in there. Just getting the crap off at the bottom that's settled down. Mrs.'s toothbrush that. I'll get it back in a bit. So that's just about to the bottom of that outlet now. Right, so I'll come back to you once this is empty, guys, and I'll open the valve up and flush it, and I'll show you how much crap comes through. It's not been flushed in a few weeks, obviously, because I've been doing treatments and that, so it'll be interesting to see what's collected in bottom drain. Right, I'm going to open bottom drain up now, guys, and see what comes through. Not actually too bad, to be fair. I'm going to shut it back off and then open his drain valve again. And I'll do that a couple of times just to flush it all through. Making sure all of this stringy crap comes out. Switch the valve off, open the drain. Like I say, I'll do this a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, something like that, just to make sure everything's through. I'll shut that off. I'll get one more flush, one more purge, should I say, and that should be pretty good. And then what will happen is, obviously, once pumps are turned back on, whatever's been disturbed in bottom will get pulled through. I'll open that up, let it drain, and then I'll open bottom drain. Once this is empty now, I'll open bottom drain up and leave it open, and it'll start emptying water out at pond. So while that's emptying, I'm going to mix myself some sodium thiosulfate up, because what will happen is, once I've got this down to the level that I want it at, probably going to do a 20% water change in this instance, purely for the fact that a lot of chemical has gone in over the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to do a 20% change, get a nice good water change, get quite a bit of salt out, get some sodium thiosulfate in before start filling back up. And then what that does is, if you put it in beforehand, when you start filling back up, the sodium thiosulfate, what's already in the water, that will instantly neutralise any chloramines that gets put into the water as it's filling up, so that it's not affecting your fish. So yeah, right, I'm going to get off then, guys. I'm going to get this drained down a bit more, go and mix some sodium thiosulfate up, and I shall come back to you. Right then, sodium thiosulfate crystals. all I do is I use 25 grams to a litre of water, and then I'll dose all the litre into the pond as I'm filling up. So I'll get this measured up. There we go, 25 grams. So all I'll do with that now is I'll go in boil kettle. I'll fill a jug with a litre of boiling water, and I'll chuck this in, mix it up, let it cool down, and then I'll dump it in pond. The reason why I use boiling water as opposed to just normal pond water or tap water, whatever, is sometimes these sodium thiosulfate crystals can come with some form of bacteria on them. Not quite sure exactly what it's called, but they can come with some form of bacteria on them anyway, so I always just boil kettle just to eliminate those kind of risks. So there we have it. Right then guys, I'll snap back to you in a bit. Right, so that's the water down to where it needs to be, guys. That's 20% what's been took out. Now the way my pond is, I always know how much I've took out because bloody cobwebs. If I take it from waterline down to here, that's 10%. Next one is 20%, 30%, 40%, and then obviously the next block would be 50%. So that's how I know how much I've taken out. I've measured it in past previously, and it's always, once it gets down to these mortar lines, it's 10% increments. So that's how I know. If I take it down to this line, that's 20%, 10%, whatever. So that's that. That's 20% out. So all I do now is I've got me 1 litre jug sodium thiosulfate. I shall get, where are we, this plug on. That's the bottom drain here, and then all I do before I start filling, I'll literally just go around and I shall just trickle a bit in. Just all the way around pond. Still a bit warm yet mine, but it'll cool down as soon as it hits surface. So that's that in, that's me sodium thiosulfate in, and then it's just a matter of turning this tap back on. So I've put my hose pipe back on here, what fills pond back up. I'll just turn the tap on. I need to change these at some point as well. Need some new filters in them, because I don't think I've changed them since in forever. And there we are, that's filling back up over there. So now what's happening is, because the sodium thiosulfate is already in the water column, as that water is entering, what's got chlorine and chloramines in it, the air is agitating the water inside the pond, mixing up the sodium thiosulfate, and as the water's coming in, upon contact, the sodium thiosulfate will instantly neutralise any chlorine and chloramines within the water. Chloramines being bonded chlorine and ammonia. So what it'll do is it'll attack the chloramine, it'll break it apart, it'll get rid of the chlorine part of it, of the chloramine, and just leave behind the ammonia, which then gets dealt with by your biofilter. Metals wise, what will happen is, as soon as the pond's filled back up, it'll get a small dose of pond detox, and that will take care of any contaminants what's inside the water supply in terms of metals and etc. Yeah, so that's that, guys. Food wise, at the minute, they are still on a mix of growth and colour food at the minute. Pretty soon they're going to be coming off at colour food, because they're starting to get to a point now where the Benny is pretty much where it needs to be, and so they're going to be coming off of colour food. Probably leave them on growth for a little bit longer, just to try and put a little bit more body on them. Yeah, this is trouble with me doing this in such a short space of time. You know, deciding last minute. I've not been feeding my fish to get them show ready, if that makes sense, because there's a difference between feeding your fish and then feeding them to get them show ready. There's a big difference between the two. So because I decided to do this show late on, I'm having to now try and play catch up. I'll be honest, I'm just winging it. I'm just doing it. I'm just doing what I think is probably the right thing to do. Just a bit of guesswork involved. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Right then, guys. Oh, actually, I've got something to show you. Some of you guys may have already seen these, but what I have got, I shall just spin the camera around. So inside here we have had an order of new mugs. This is a different design to my original one. There we go. A new design. Feed me more. And I'll be bringing these with me to the Great British Koi Show. So any of you guys see me that ain't got a mug already, pull me to the side and you can have one. There is a couple of mugs already reserved for a couple of people what I've been promising for ages and ages since I had me first lot of mugs. I've just not made another order for quite some time, and I've been promising these people for a mug for quite some time now. So you guys know who you are. You will get your mugs, providing I see you at the show, of course. If not, then I'll get in touch with you and I'll post one out to you. But yeah, if you do see me at the show, guys, if you ain't got a mug and you want one, provided I've got some left, then tap me on the shoulder and you can have one. But it's just better to bring them to the show, because then it saves on postage of posting mugs out, because it's not cheap. Not cheap at all. Sometimes it can cost more on postage than it is to buy the actual mug, which is crazy. Anyway, that's by the by. I'm going to let this finish filling, guys, and then once it's full, we shall come back to you. Right, that's the water change all done, guys. All filled back up, as you can see. So what I do now, after everything's filled back up, we've already dealt with the chlorine and chloramines, etc., with the sodium thiosulfate. So like I said, what I do now is I add a little bit of detox formula. So what we've got in here, should just flip you around. So I've got this detox formula, and it advises for 2 tablespoons per 1,000 gallons. Now my pond is a little over 2,000 gallons, so what I do, I've got me my measuring spoons. This end is 1 tablespoon. So what we'll do is we'll just measure the tablespoons, and we'll see how much it works out at in grams. So like I say, it recommends 2 tablespoons per 1,000 gallons. Mine's a little over 2,000 gallons. But what I always do is I always add 1 spoon extra. You can't overdose with it, so it's no problem. I always add 1 spoon extra just to, you know, be sure that it's dealing with any unwanted things what's in the water supply. So all I do is put my scales on. So it's already zeroed, so all we do is I'll scoop up a spoon. So we've got 1, 2, okay, not quite level spoons, but never mind. So that's 2 spoons, so that equates to 1,000 gallons. 3, 4, that's for 2,000 gallons, and then like I say, I go 1 more spoon. 5, so for me that works out 52 grams for 5 tablespoons. And then all I do, it does say on there to mix it in some pond water, dissolve it in some pond water, but what you can actually do, there's no problem doing this, is you can actually just sprinkle it on the surface, which is what I do. So I'll just come round here, and then all I do, just in front of the air bar, I literally just sprinkle it in, just like so. And then I'll go around here to this side, sprinkle a bit around here. And that will get mixed in, put the rest on it in, and then I'll put rest in on this side again. And that's it. So that's what I do after I've done my water changes. Just add the detox formula, and like I say, that just takes care of any toxins what's in the tap water, you know, metals, things like that. It does reduce metals. I have actually tested it for copper. I haven't been able to test it for anything else because I've not got any means of testing for anything else, such as zinc or lead or whatever, but I have tested it for copper and it does work. So yeah, that's what I do. Just one thing, just one other thing to bear in mind as well is, once you've had a detox, if at any point after you've had it, shortly after, if you notice a few fish flashing, that's perfectly normal. That's just because basically what you've done by adding detox formula is you're altering the chemistry of the water. So in the short term it will cause them to flash a little bit, just because of how quickly it alters the chemistry of the water by taking those toxins out what's been put in, you know, those metals and things like that, or anything else that might already be in there. So if you do notice a few fish flashing shortly after you put it in, perfectly normal, but after a little while they'll stop and they'll be perfectly fine. So yeah, that's about it, guys. That's what I've been up to. That's how I clean that thing out in my maintenance. So I think that'll be about it till the next one. When that might be yet, I'm not sure. Well, we're on 15th. Next time could possibly be when we're at the Great British Koi Show. So if I don't see you before then, I'll see you then. So see you later, guys.